The biggest mistakes in a probate sale usually happen before the property is even on the market. If you're selling a home after a loved one has passed, these mistakes can cost you delays in your closing, thousands of dollars, and unnecessary stress for your family. The good news is every one of these mistakes can be avoided if you know what to do before you get started. Hi, I'm attorney Kishore Kapoor, a residential real estate closing attorney here in the state of Connecticut. And every day we share real life stories from real closings so you can learn from my clients' experiences and hopefully have a smooth and stress-free closing. So we're talking about what happens after a loved one passes and they own property. What steps do you take? What do you need to do? Well, if that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. So let me tell you a couple of stories today. So we had a family that accepted an offer on their house before they had any authority to sell a property. Well, let's talk about that. So we represented a client. Mom had died, and there were 3 siblings. They got ready. They listed the house. They started the process of listing the house with a real estate agent. They get an offer in. They contact my office to help them sell the property and close on it. And we get the title search back, and we find out that the property's in mom and dad's name. Not a problem. So we go and we say, well, what happened here? Oh, well, my dad died 20 years ago, and they own the house in survivorship. So my mom inherited the house. Okay, well, that's problem number 1. And then they said, well, and our mom died, and they left us with a will and gave us authority to sell the house. So that's what we've done. I said, okay, so what is done in probate court? Oh, we didn't know we didn't do probate court for anything. So we have authority. Here's our will. We can sell. Whoa, that's the first mistake they made. So there's 2 problems here. One is dad dies with the property in survivorship. It's still in dad's name. Dad did not come off title because he died, right? There's paperwork that needs to get filed. So we got to resolve that. Then lesson number 2 is mom died and named them in the will. So they automatically assumed that they had the power to do everything. Well, lesson number 1, we need to file paperwork with the probate court to resolve dad's closing, right? Take dad off title and just leave the house at mom. Then we needed to go and apply for probate court to get the daughter appointed to be able to sell the house. This caused a delay of 3.5 months. Lots of stress, caused them extra money because now they had to pay for the buyer's rate lock extensions to keep the buyer. So you need to make sure the probate is completed before you list it. Having an attorney on your side can be extremely helpful. Now, I covered 2 major mistakes that we see. The last mistake we see is mom or dad pass. The children inherit the house. They list the house, back up. They get probate permission to be appointed. They list the house. They go through the process. They put as is in the contract. They go through the process saying, all right, mortgage gets approved, title looks good, with the exception of getting some probate paperwork, file everything properly, get to the closing, sign the contract, sign the deed, sign all the appropriate documents. Buyer goes to do the walkthrough, the house is full of stuff. And the sellers assume as is means they can just leave everything behind and not worry. It happens more frequently than you think. As is does not mean you get to leave your stuff behind. As is means that the house is in the condition it is when you first saw it. That means you still have to remove your personal property. It just means that if a window is broken, that it could stay broken without having to resolve. Okay. If you are thinking of selling a home and you're in the process of probate, or your parents just died and you need help, give us a call before you list the property. A short conversation highlighting and giving you over the process can save you and your family months of unnecessary delays, months of stress, and potentially thousands of dollars. So I've got 5 lessons today for you. Lesson number 1, authority comes first. Probate needs to be involved when somebody dies. It might be a minor involvement or it could be a major involvement. You don't know that until you consult with an attorney. That is our job to help advise you on. Okay. You cannot sell the property until you have authority to sell it. And up until the time somebody is appointed by the probate court, they have no authority. Okay. Number 2 is, we didn't talk about this, but it's an important lesson. Decide who is in charge, right? If you have multiple executors, who's going to be the point person? Because it is very hard for us to talk to 3 different people to get an answer. Make one a point person, work together, keep things to control. Number 3, make sure the house is emptied before we get to closing, right? Also keep up on your taxes. If there's insurance, keep up the utility, maintain the house. Because if we don't have those things and we have to delay the closing, well, now it costs you more time and more stress. Okay. Another thing we didn't talk about, but a mistake we often see, is people are not in reality with the way they price their house. Emotional value and market value are very different, right? And this applies not just in probate, but in general. What you think the house could be worth because you have memories there is not what it might be worth in the market. It's that simple. Number 4, get your attorney involved early in the process. The earlier, the better, so you can help avoid problems, solve issues, and avoid delays. And then number 5, which is the most important when dealing with survivorship, just because you own the house with rights of survivorship does not mean it automatically transfers. In Connecticut, the state puts what's called an incohate lien on the property. It is an automatic lien that's applied. It does not get actually filed. It is something done by statute, and we need to file paperwork to remove it in order to remove the deceased person off of title. So every day, well, if you found this information useful, every day we share real life situations from real closings so you can have a smooth and stress-free closing. And based on what you've recently watched on YouTube, this is what we recommend you watch next. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos, be sure to subscribe below.